A while back, I made a video explaining every cryptid that has ever appeared in the Fallout franchise. Since that video, there have been over a half dozen new cryptids introduced to the Fallout canon. So let's talk about them. This is 8 more Fallout Cryptids Explained. The Emissary. We're starting off today with one cryptid that many folks are probably aware of, but didn't realize that they are indeed cryptids according to the definition, and that is the Emissary. Randomly encountered across the Appalachian wasteland, the Emissary was added to Fallout 76 in the Invaders from Beyond update. You can kinda see where this might be going. Adorned in a black suit, black fedora, and a pair of shades, the Emissary makes various comments about the invading Zaytan aliens, some puzzling space nonsense, and other remarks about notable locations where cryptid sightings seem to frequent. When first spotted, he speaks into a tape recorder, making notes about the Zaytan invasion and commenting on the region. He says, "Carol, memo to the bosses. They have arrived in Appalachia. Find out when Venus will be at its zenith. Why are they here now? Must reassess the plan to accommodate this setback. The witness is nearby. Intel acquisitions and negation will begin momentarily. Initial contact force numbers currently unknown. Epsilon protocol will commence. Results positive for Zaytanium. Sample acquired for further consideration." It would seem that he has been sent to the region to investigate why exactly the Zaytan aliens invaded Appalachia during the Invaders from Beyond update. But that's not all. The Emissary also mentions that pre-war Appalachian residents believed in a giant moth creature, noting that the idea is preposterous. He comments that the mysterious guidestones are quite otherworldly, and notes that he has a meeting with a friend in Flatwoods. During the entire conversation, the mysterious man often addresses you as neighbor, implying that he's not from the region. And as he is called the Emissary, and the job of an emissary is to create diplomatic relations between two groups or nations, it's not a reach to assume that the Emissary himself is either an alien or serving as the human emissary to the aliens. Now, as the conversation nears its end, the man asks you to look his way, close your eyes, and says that this daydream will be over soon. Those familiar with the Men in Black movies might realize what the Emissary is trying to do. And yes, that's right, the Emissary is based on the mysterious Men in Black. According to folklore, the Men in Black are nondescript secret government agents dressed in black, sent to question, interrogate, harass, threaten, and wipe the memories of those who have seen unexplained and unknown entities. They're most often associated with UFOs and aliens, but not always. For example, John Keel's 1975 The Mothman Prophecies book mentions the Men in Black. It calls them frightening, inscrutable agents who are slightly off in every way possible. Their presence is said to be disorienting, and the Men in Black often seem confused on how to handle basic human conversations. One recorded sighting of the MIB occurred in the mid-1950s when ufologist Albert Bender claimed that he was visited by some men in dark suits. They supposedly threatened him and warned him to stop investigating UFOs. Bender believed that these men were some secret government agents tasked with suppressing knowledge about UFO sightings. Going back to Fallout, if one kills the Emissary, they will find a mysterious key on their persons. This key opens the normally locked door to TNT Dome number 8 at the Black Mountain Ordnance Works. Inside the dome, one will find not only the corpse of an alien on a gurney, but also Homer Saperstein projected onto a monitor. Homer reveals that this is his base of operations for researching the aliens. The whole Emissary random encounter is a very involved Easter egg and reference. But nonetheless, aliens and those conducting research on them are still one of Fallout's greatest mysteries. On to another random encounter cryptid, though this one is a lot less involved. Inred Cold, as mentioned, randomly found during your adventures, is a peculiar man named Inred Cold. Added in the Mutant Invasion update, the mysterious man is pale, has dark hair, and his face is perpetually contorted into an exaggerated and unsettling smile. He wears a dark and tattered suit. And just like the Emissary, the Smiling Man's dialogue is filled with weird and cryptic phrases. He claims that he's either lost or is seeking a seeker that cannot be found. He notes that he's been to the region before and makes various comments about other cryptids, like the Mothman and Snallygaster. It's all very weird, and his monotonous grin doesn't help diffuse the tenseness of the encounter. Now, a few of Inred Cold's quotes are references to other media. Yesterday, upon the stair, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. Oh, how I'd wish he'd go away. This line is from William Hughes Mearns' 1899 poem, Antigonish. It's about a ghost in a haunted house. Ah, but this is wondrous strange comes from William Shakespeare's Hamlet, and Ever Dance with the Devil Under a Blue Moon shares some similarities with one of the Joker's lines in the 1989 Batman film. If the Smiling Man is ever attacked, he will vanish in a cloud of dark smoke, similar to that of the Mothman, and the cryptid's backstory kinda supports this. In folklore, Inred Cold is a humanoid entity that smiles at everyone he meets. He is most associated with UFO activity, sometimes the Men in Black, and other times the Mothman. While the first sighting was in October 1966, the most infamous sighting came a few weeks later. It should be noted that this was sometime around the first ever sighting of the Mothman in West Virginia as well. On November 2nd, 1966, in Parksburg, West Virginia, a man named Woodrow Derenberger was driving home along Interstate 77. Woodrow heard a crash as an unidentifiable vehicle appeared to land in front of his truck. A smiling man came out of the vehicle, walked up to Woodrow, and telepathically spoke to him, introducing himself as Inred Cold and noting that he meant no harm. Cold then proceeded to tell Woodrow that he was from the planet Lanulos in the Ganymedes galaxy, and that he just wanted to know more about the human race. After their brief conversation, Cold returned to his vehicle saying, "We will see you again," before taking off. Woodrow would report this incident to the police. His story and subsequent interviews would pique the interest of many West Virginians. Soon, more stories about lights and fluttering vehicles would come out, adding to Woodrow's claims and the validity of the tale of the Smiling Man. Following the first encounter, Woodrow claimed that he was visited by Cold on numerous occasions. Woodrow's family even supported these claims, with his wife being terrified that there were other Smiling Man-like beings blending in with humanity. Woodrow received weird phone calls to his house. Some were weird beeps and electric hums, others were from folks threatening Woodrow and telling him to stop talking about his experience. Men in Black, perhaps? Now, regardless of how you feel about cryptids and the likes, it would seem that Woodrow Derenberger did experience something quite profound in the late 1960s, and there are a handful of theories for what it actually was. Now, the most common belief is that Inred Cold is an alien which belongs to a species of other smiling humanoids. The next most common belief is that Cold is actually some sort of ghost or spirit. And other more practical theories state that the character of Inred Cold was part of an elaborate prank played on Woodrow, or that he's just some random bloke who had an odd encounter with Woodrow and the story took off because of the recent Mothman sightings. Regardless of what Inred Cold actually is in our own world, the Smiling Man is cemented as a random encounter in Fallout 76. Now, let's move on to more conventional cryptids. Blue Devil. Added in the Once in a Blue Moon update, the Blue Devil is neither blue or a devil. Rather, the beast is some sort of bipedal wolf, almost akin to a werewolf. Patches of dark hair cover its taut and pinkish skin. A set of razor-sharp claws are found at the end of their long upper arms. Their ferocious howl can cause an uncontrollable fear that leaves folks who hear it with no option but to run in terror. Clyde, a bartender, mechanic, and guard for the Blue Ridge Caravan Company, is running an investigation into the origins of the creature. With the help of another guard and former cryptid hunter, Ares, the pair managed to discover that the creature the Blue Devil originated from was actually bred pre-war. Much smaller back then, they were used for racing, and then it eventually became for fighting. They were likely some sort of dog or wolf breed. Since the Great War, the Blue Devils have continued to naturally reproduce in the wild and have grown considerably in size. The pair's investigation also revealed that the Blue Devil pups mature at an alarming rate and are extremely hostile even from a young age. One specific Blue Devil has been stalking around the Middle Mountain pit stop northeast of the White Spring. While this uneased the merchant living there, Vera Thornburg, the creature repeller that Ares previously set up should keep all wildlife away. If it ever malfunctioned or broke, however, then that would be a different story. In folklore, the Blue Devil is said to be a slightly blue canine creature larger than a pony that stalks the Grassy Creek area of Webster County, West Virginia. One of the first reported sightings of the Blue Devil came from a former farmer, John Clevenger. He claimed that his hunting dog had been attacked and killed by the beast. Another farmer, Ernest Kogar, reported that his livestock had been spooked for several nights and that some creature managed to kill one of his cattle and sheep. Other reports detail a wild, inhumane scream and something that sounded like a panther. As these rumors spread, they managed to catch the interest of many out-of-county hunters. Despite spending much time roving the hills of Webster County, they were unable to find the beast. To better incentivize folks, the Valley Head Rod and Gun Club offered a bounty for the death of the creature. In today's dollars, the bounty would have been about $8,000. A coal miner, Elmer Corley, would cash in the bounty after killing a creature that folks eerily described as not a coyote, but something that resembled one. After Corley's kill, there were no more reported Blue Devil sightings in Webster County. The next cryptid on this list, coincidentally, is another devil. Jersey Devil. First introduced in the Expedition's Atlantic City update, the Jersey Devil and its offspring, the Lesser Devils, appear to be some sort of mysterious reptilian creatures. First believed to be some tall tale hailing from New Jersey's Pine Barrens, it would seem that post-war, a similar-looking creature to that described in the old tales started to emerge. While some had believed the creatures to be actual spawns of Satan, other more rational folks understood that it was just a simple mutant, not unlike the many other creatures that inhabit the wasteland. The Jersey Devil is best described as a bipedal lizard. It has a reddish-black leathery skin, a pair of black horns, a whip-like tail, and a pair of glowing red eyes. You can see why they call it a devil. Now, the most notable part of the Jersey Devil is its blood. Antonio Russo, with the help of chemist Jean, managed to discover that the Jersey Devil's blood is an extremely potent and highly addictive opioid-like chem. It supposedly combines the qualities of both a stimulant and a depressant, resulting in a mix of euphoria, mental stimulation, and relaxation. The chem is sold only to the wealthiest clients of America's playground. In folklore similar to the tall tale in Fallout, the Jersey Devil is said to be a mysterious creature originating from the Pine Barrens. It is said to have hooves, a snake's tail, a bat's wings, and a horse-like head. Many attribute the origin of the Jersey Devil to the Leeds family. The legend states that Jane Leeds had 12 children, and after finding out that she was pregnant with a 13th, she cursed the child in frustration, declaring that it would be the devil. Well, on one stormy night in 1735, Jane gave birth. At first, the child came out normally, but then it started to transform into the devilish creature. The beast flew up the chimney, disappearing into the pines. Now, while that tall tale serves as a sort of origin story for the legend, there have been some supposed sightings of the Jersey Devil, sightings that are a lot more modern. During one week in January 1909, newspapers reported hundreds of encounters with the Jersey Devil from all over the state. There were claims that the creature attacked a trolley car in Haddon Heights and a social club in Camden. There were also reports that the police opened fire upon the beast, but their bullets had no effect. The widespread newspaper coverage of these sightings caused a mass panic, leading to several schools and businesses to close for a time. Hunters started to roam the Pine Barrens searching for the creature. Of course, these folks had no luck, and the tales say that the Jersey Devil still stalks the region to this day. Auua. Similar to the Blue Devil, the Auua was also added in Fallout 76's Once in a Blue Moon update. The Auua is a massive creature that closely resembles a snapping turtle. It has a fierce bite attack and a hardened shell that protects it from just about every source of damage. According to a note found at the Sacramental Glade, the cult of the Mothman wants to sacrifice the Auua to the Mothman, believing that its ancient blood will reveal some sort of divine secrets. And honestly, that's really it for in-game lore about the Auua. Just a big old turtle that has caught the interest of the Mothman cult. Now, in folklore, the Auua, or Rivesville Monster, Holt Monster, or Monongahela River Monster, is said to be a massive alligator snapping turtle. Folks claim that the beast has 2 heads, is 20 feet long, and weighs over 500 pounds. And unlike other river monsters, the Auua is capable of living on both land and in the water, with some claiming it can pluck a whole deer from the shore in one swift bite. According to some legends, in 1754, a young boy was pulled underwater by the Auua while fishing with his family, never to be seen again. More practical explanations for the Auua claims that it is an alligator that managed to make its way up the Mississippi River, into the Ohio River, and then the Monongahela River. Others say it really is just an alligator snapping turtle, though instead of being 20 feet, it's just slightly larger than normal. Regardless, just mind your toes if you ever find yourself on the river's shore. Squonk. Our last 3 cryptids don't actually make an appearance as creatures within the games, but they are mentioned. First up is the Squonk. The Squonk can only be seen on the scoreboard for the Mutant Invasion update. He's that little guy there. As such, there's not a lot of in-game lore for the Squonk, and heck, it may not even be a creature in the game, but rather just a tall tale. In folklore, the Squonk is a mythical critter said to reside in the hemlock forests of northern Pennsylvania. The earliest known account of the Squonk comes from a 1910 book called Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods, with a few desert and mountain beasts. I probably would have picked a different title. It's a bit wordy. The legend tells of a wart-covered creature with saggy skin. More modern accounts describe it looking like a pig. As it's ashamed of its own appearance, it hides from sight and spends most of its time crying. Poor guy. Those who have attempted to catch a Squonk have reported its lone defense mechanism. In the event it is ever spotted, the Squonk will dissolve itself into a pool of tears. Supposedly, a man named J.P. Wentling managed to put the creature into a bag, but the time he had gotten home, all that remained in his sack were the wet remains of the creature. What a miserable existence. You hate yourself so much that you cry about it all the time, and if anyone ever spots you, you just up and die. A really weird cryptid all around. Veggie Man. Similar to the Squonk, the Veggie Man only ever appears on the scoreboard for the Mutant Invasion update. In folklore, the Veggie Man is said to be a 7-foot-tall, plant-like humanoid creature. It has large ears, river reed-like arms, thorned fingers, and eyes that rapidly change color from red to yellow. The first sighting of the Vegetable Man, let's use his government name, was in 1968 in Fairmont, West Virginia. While Jennings Frederick was out hunting, he heard an odd noise. It sounded like a high-pitched jabbering, almost as if a record player was running faster than normal. After tracking down the noise, Frederick found himself face to face with the Veggie Man. Frederick said that the creature looked weakened and sickly, as it communicated with him telepathically. The creature said, "You need not fear me, I wish to communicate. I come as a friend. We know of you all, I come in peace, I wish medical assistance, I need your help." After, the creature lunged at Frederick, pulling him into a tight hug. Its thorns pierced the man, draining the blood from his body. During the process, Frederick was mesmerized by the creature's shifting eyes. Soon after, the creature raced away up a hill. Frederick then claimed to hear a deep humming coming from the other side of the hill, believing the sound to be the creature's ship taking off, implying that the Veggie Man is some sort of alien. And this is the only documented encounter of the cryptid. Our final cryptid is one that you've most definitely heard of, but we've yet to cover. Yeti. And finally, our last cryptid is the Yeti. The Yeti appears as a game piece on the Mutant Invasion scoreboard. Not to be confused with the Sasquatch or Bigfoot, the Yeti is its own beast. It is one of the more infamous cryptids, and unlike many of the cryptids we went over already today, the Yeti is not native to West Virginia, the Appalachians, or even the United States. The Yeti, or sometimes known as the Abominable Snowman, is a large ape-like creature reported to live in and around the Himalayan mountains. It has white, shaggy fur that helps it blend in with its snowy surroundings and has been reported of being upwards of 9 feet tall. Many folks that live around the Himalayas believe in spirit guardians and deities that inhabit the mountains. Combine this with the harsh landscape of the region, and tales of an unknown mountain guardian began to spread. The legend of the Yeti only grew when Western expedition teams made their way to Mount Everest. After seeing large footprints in the snow, a British climbing team believed them to belong to a gray wolf, but their Sherpa guides quickly corrected them, saying that it must have belonged to the wild man of the snows, thus leading to the name the Abominable Snowman. Just like Bigfoot, Yeti sightings and reports most often come in the form of large footprints and anecdotal stories, with not much else supporting evidence. While some have claimed that they've collected hair or other Yeti samples, most of these have provided little scientific evidence of the true existence of the Yeti. And thus, like the rest of the creatures mentioned in this video, the Yeti remains a cryptid in the eyes of many. An unknown and uncertain being whose existence is solely propped up by tall tales and legends. And so we wrap up our exploration of 8 new cryptids that were added into the Fallout universe. From the humble Squonk to a deadly pair of devils, the world of Fallout is a welcome home to the unknown. That's all from me today, folks. Thanks for listening. If you liked the video, be sure to share and subscribe. Join the Discord. Have a good rest of your day. Cheers.
Ah, but this is wondrous strange.